All right, here we go. All right, hello and welcome to Swing It and Ding It, an iHeartMedia podcast sponsored by Draftkings Sportsbook. This is Moose along with Mays and Matthews on this Florida swing midweek. Lot going on. Will it be another long shot? I don't think so. Type of golf week. Harry Mays, first, I'll go to you. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And yeah, I think this is the week where some of the stars really emerge to the top of the leaderboard, or at least I hope so. It's not like I'm down on these long shots, but I think the tour could use a big name this week to come through.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Bay Hill showing at the teeth. Facts, showed yesterday double cutting already, and it's Tuesday night. I think Bay Hill is a really tough course for another long shot. I'm with Harry in the same breath that we're going to see one of our stars left on tour rise to the top this week.
Yeah, one of the ones that's left.
Yeah. Well, we have a special guest joining us who I think I'm going to call him the smartest man in the world, and here's why. I said to my wife yesterday I reminded her about my golf trip coming up to Pebble in July, and I got a look like, oh yeah, forgot about that. This man authored a book called Playing from the Rough, a personal journey through America's 100 greatest golf courses. So do I just say I'm writing a book, Jimmy? How do I do this? Jimmie James, welcome to Swing It and Ding It.
Hey, glad to be with you guys today. I don't know about that smart moniker, but I was able to get quite a number of hall passes successively across the year to get in.
It's for the book.
To get in 100 greatest courses. So,
wow.
For the book, but I'm not sure the book's going to help you with the hall passes, except where you could say to your wife, "Hey, you think I'm bad? You should meet this guy, Jimmie James."
That's right. Well, Jimmy, listen, we want to get into a little bit of everything about your golf journey, but let's start with the book, right? Because this looks incredible. It's being released on June 11th. Make sure you're following us on socials. Jimmy was gracious enough to give us a signed copy that we're going to give away, but you're able to pre-order it online now from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or bookshop.org. Again, Playing from the Rough, a personal journey through America's 100 greatest golf courses. So talk to us about what list you used and when this idea came to you and then how you put it into action.
So I'll get to the list in a moment. So I'll start with how the idea came to mind. It was actually the growth of having received the gift of getting onto Augusta, which my wife and I we both have had careers that have moved around a lot. Her job took us from Virginia to Atlanta, and to show her appreciation for my support in that, she was determined to get me onto Augusta National. So at her first meeting with her advisory board at the Gwazueta School of Business at Emory University, she said, "Hey, can any of you guys get my husband onto Augusta National?"
God, I love her.
Wow.
One of the advisory
wife of the year right there.
Yes, one of the advisory board members. She didn't like it when I called her GOAT. She didn't understand that. Right? I explained what that actually meant. Then she was okay with it. But one of her advisory board members was friends with Danny Yates. Danny Yates invited me out. And then she followed that up with a book by John Sabino, where over a lifetime, he played the top 100 courses across the globe. So in that book, she tabbed 12 courses that she thought I either knew someone or she knew someone. And so I'm looking at that, and I was getting set to retire. And my goal during retirement was going to be to travel across the country, play golf in all 50 states, 2 rounds in each state, one with friends and one with strangers, just to get back in touch with the country. I used to travel around the country a lot, just on road trips and stop and chat with people, but career, global travel. So I wanted to reconnect with America. But when she gave me that book, the idea came to mind, well, this guy, it took him a long time to do it, but I want to play 100 courses in a year. Why not just play the 100 best? I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So now this is where the list comes in. A couple of months later, Golf Digest list comes out, and it's 100 greatest courses.
And what year is this, Jimmy?
This is in 2017.
17.
February of 2017. 100 greatest courses. The list is actually good for 2 years. So the idea was, okay, I'll start in the middle of 2017 and finish in the middle of 2018. So in 1 year, I'll play all 100 of them. And people probably aren't going to like when I say this, but anyone who says they've played the top 100 and have done it over multiple years have played a top 100 list. In order
There's an asterisk by it.
In order to actually play the top 100, you got to play them. You got to play them while they're actually in the top 100.
Right. The ratings change.
The ratings change. So I wanted a list that would be good across the range of 12 months that I would get this done in. And so that's sort of how the idea came. And again, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. When I looked at the list, I didn't even recognize half the courses.
Right.
Wow.
What's Mayakama or Catanzed or the Valley Club of Montecito? I'd never heard of any of those.
Was it always the idea to write a book about it, or how did that come about?
So the idea was that I would write a book. So I set the goal of doing it. And then I set the goal also of writing a book about it after I completed it. And both of those things were really hard. Playing all 100 courses in a year is hard. Getting a book deal with a major publishing company is hard. Writing a book is hard. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought if you had a great story to tell and the ability to write, you could write a book. You could write a magazine article because you're only trying to get someone to turn the page a couple of times. Mm-hmm. But to get someone to turn a page 300 times,
wow,
that's a challenge.
Well, Jimmy, talking about things that are hard, how hard was access to the top 100 courses?
So I made it harder probably than it really needed to be because I set some parameters. My goal was really to show that we live in a country where grit, generosity, kindness helps others achieve their goal. So I wanted to see if I could get on all of these courses without ever asking anyone directly asking anyone for an invitation.
Wow. So how'd you go about that?
So I would just, when I was on a plane, I would chat up about whoever was near me about what I was doing. When I was playing around, I would talk about what I was doing. And if they fell into the spell of my dream, I could see their mental Rolodexes going off and they'd say, hey, I know a guy, I have a friend. I grew up with this guy that's a member here or there. Tell you what, I'm going to tell him what you're doing, and I bet he'd be happy to help you.
Wow.
And it developed organically.
That's the world of golf that we've learned over the past couple of years doing this show. The world of golf is definitely come on, join us, come play at my place for sure.
Yes. So it was that type of thing. And I had a strategy. There are 12 resort courses. So there are, that list, there are 87 private courses on it, 12 resort courses, and then one public course, Bethpage Black. And so my idea was I will play the resort courses as a single and get paired with people. Okay. And during the idle time between swings, between when we're swinging it and dinging it, I'd chat them up about what I was trying to do. And if they were interested, and so it really worked. And then there were some amazing type stories that happened. When I was getting near the end, I had 29 courses, 34 days remaining. And I just finished playing the 2 courses. And these courses, by the way, they were spread across the country still. As far west as Idaho. I had 2 courses in Idaho left in that 29 courses. I had several in New York, spread across New York from Rochester out to the Hamptons.
There's 2 courses in Idaho that were in the top 100. That's shocking.
Yes,
Coeur d'Alene,
Coeur d'Alene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are two courses. They're both in Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
And so I'm I North Carolina, South Carolina. I've got to get all these courses in, and just slightly over a month.
It's amazing.
It was a challenge, and so I play the two courses at Wingfoot, east and west, and I'm about to head out to the Hamptons so I could play. There are 4 courses in the Hamptons: Sabonic, Friars Head, Shinnecock, National Golf Links. So
it's a pretty good weekend.
Is Fisher's Island on that list?
Fisher's Island is on the top 100, but it's in between the Hamptons, in between Long Island and Connecticut.
Not only is it not easy to get on, it's not easy to get to.
It's not easy to get to get to either. So I leave. I'm telling the guys at my caddy, Donnie Hines, Irish lass that is just fun to listen to. All caddies have stories. She had great stories. But I'm telling her, and then Mike Bella, who was the assistant pro I was playing with, that I'm about to head out to the Hamptons. And they say, I'm about to drive out there. They say, you don't want to do that. You want to drive to Bridgeport, catch the ferry over to Port Jefferson. And because the traffic this time of day is crazy. That put me on a different route. That put me on Griffin Avenue. And across Griffin Avenue from Wingfoot is Quaker Ridge, one of the remaining courses that I didn't have a truly confirmed host for yet, a tee time for yet. And as I'm driving down Griffin Avenue, I noticed this commotion in the middle of the street. There's a truck with a cracked windshield. Obviously, a ball had come over the fence and cracked the windshield. So there was this tall guy yelling at these 5 short guys in golf attire. I pull over and I observe for a moment. The guy gets in the truck. I thought he was leaving. So I jump out of the car. Opportunity. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about, if you're going to do something that no one else has ever done, you got to be willing to try things that most people wouldn't. So I jump out of the rental. I go over to these guys and I say, hey, whatever happened, misfortune happened. I'm sorry for that. But every dark cloud has a silver lining. And I'd like to be your silver lining. I'm trying to play all 100 of the top courses in the country in a year. And I'm running out of year. I don't know if I'll be able to get to New York again. And so that course, and I pointed at Quaker Ridge, I said, I need one of you to host me on that course on Saturday, not just host me, but on a particular day. So one of the guys goes, first they're standing there in stunned silence.
Right.
The wholeness of this. Who is
because
this?
did this guy
They just had to come down from fighting with someone about a windshield.
Yes,
right?
yes. And so this one guy breaks the silence. He has a Quaker Ridge logo on his shirt. He says, hey, these guys are not members. They can't help you. But tell you what, give me your cell number and I'll call you tonight. That guy turned out to be Mario Guerrero, the head pro from the club.
Wow.
Stop.
And so Mario calls and he goes, so what's your story? So I tell him, hey, I'm this kid that was born in poverty in the late Jim Crow era in the deepest woods of East Texas. Got an education, first of my family to do so. Went to work in a career for ExxonMobil and retired as an executive. And now I'm trying to play the top 100 courses in a year.
Just a traditional way into golf.
Right? Yeah. I want to show that America's kind enough, generous enough, so on and so forth. And he goes, I actually like the way you approach this today. And I believe in fate too. So tell you what I'm going to do. He says, we don't generally allow unaccompanied play this time of year. It was the beginning of the season. It was middle of May. But I'm going to talk to the GM and the president and get an exception so that I can host you on Saturday. And the next day he calls me and he says, we're going to play on Saturday afternoon. That's the type of just those types of stories and that type of generosity. That was one of the few times I actually asked for an invite. The only other times were with pros at 3 or 4 of the other courses.
How's your body holding up at this time? Right.
My body is breaking down. So at the time I was 58 years old and I traveled, I flew about a little over 72,000 miles, drove about 18,000 miles, spent 82 nights in hotels and other people's houses. And now, during this set, as I said, I had 34 days, 29 courses. So I had kissed the wife, hugged the kids, said, at some point I'll be back, but I don't know when. And I jumped on a plane, flew to New York. There was a moment, I mean, the stress of it all, because I had committed to folks that I was going to play the top 100 courses in a year. And and I didn't want to let people down. I had to live up to my commitment. So I had to grind through it. And so the stress of it started to wear also. So it was not only physically grinding, it was mentally and emotionally grinding. But I was on that trip, as I had landed at LaGuardia, and I'm over across the street at the National Car Rental car lot, pulling the golf bag behind me. This attendant comes up and he sees the bag, goes, "You're a golfer?" I said, "Recreationally." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I'm playing the top 100 courses in a year. I'm getting down to the end. Anybody can help you, you know." Right. I'm getting down to the end. And he goes, didn't seem impressed at all. He goes, "Well, I hold a record. I hold the record, the course record at a course in Hawaii." And I'm like impressed. Wow. He said, "Yeah, nobody has ever shot as high of 143 like that." And just that moment, it just it was a stress relieving moment. I hugged him, and it was like I needed that. So
yeah.
Now wait a minute. All that flying, this was obviously before COVID, and no lost golf bag, no broken clubs. How do we deal with that?
There were a couple of times the golf bag got delayed. But fortunately, I had the status with United Airlines. That's sort of like, we were talking earlier about a common friend and his secret society, a secret golf society. There's a sort of like a secret society with the airlines above the published loyalty status. I had that loyalty status with United Airlines. And anytime there was a problem, I had a special number I called, and then they put somebody on it and they take care of it.
Wow.
So,
and the golf bag appears.
My golf bag would appear.
What about your handicap? Did that improve? I mean, 29 courses in 34 days. The golf game, did it get worse? Did it get better?
It actually got better. But at times it got worse just because of fatigue,
burnout,
and stress and tension. But I was in an 11 index. And I dropped I was 11.2. I dropped to 9.8 during that stretch.
Nice.
But I'm also playing very difficult courses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There are, Bethpage Black, Shinnecock, Pine Valley, and then a course that I later joined. It's the logo, can barely see it here. Pikewood National. Mm-hmm. Pikewood National. The slope is the max 155.
Wow.
There are two sets of tees. The back tees are 7,600. The forward tees are 7,200.
Wow.
There's
forward tees 7,200.
Yes. There's no first cut. You go from fairway to 6-inch Kentucky grass rough.
Where is that course?
Yeah, Morgantown, West Virginia.
It's in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Wow.
There are no collars around the green. You go from green
to rough.
You miss the green by an inch. You're chipping from the deep rough.
Is a scorecard featured in the book from that day?
Well, so no pictures in the book, but I talk about the challenge of that. But it was my highest score. So
it would be mine too.
my best score was a 76 at Monterey Peninsula, the Shores course.
Oh wow!
And my worst score was that 105 at Pikewood National. And people go, "How did you shoot 105?" I said, "Well, I missed."
You had so much fun that you joined.
I missed that. Yes, I missed that short putt for 104.
What a great sales point.
but that, I will tell you, if one of the things I say in the book, and we talk about the challenges we face as a country, we have to realize we're all in this together. and we've got to work together to face our challenges. But one of the things I say is that I actually have no special talents. I'm an average athlete. I can't sing. I can't even dance. I really have no special talent. The only real talent I have is I never quit. It's perseverance. I never give up. And that is a talent that's forged from a life of doing where even the simplest things in life are hard. And so I say to all of us, there's virtue in taking on the things that are hard. And so, yes, it's hard to come out of poverty, overcome racism and those things and succeed. It's hard to play the top 100 courses in a year. It's hard to play Pikewood. It's hard. It's a hard course. But there's just a great feeling of accomplishment when you're able to do the things that are hard. And that's the sort of the title of the book, Playing from the Rough. It's a lot easier to make birdies from the fairway, but you can also make birdies from the rough, and you can do that in golf and you can do that in life.
It's a great message.
Really
did it come down to the final day, and what was the last course you played or had to play?
It did come down to the final day.
Wow.
I wanted the ocean course at Kiowa to be my 100th course because it was the first years ago when I first started playing golf. I was 45 years old when I first started playing golf. And when I first started, the first significant notable course I played was the ocean course at Kiowa. And I wanted it to be my 100th course with the very first caddy I ever had, a guy named Puddles. On his first day of caddying, the cart he was riding in hit a bump. He fell out face first into a puddle of water and has since been known as Puddles. But for most of those 365 days, Wade Hampton in North Carolina had been closed. So the only day I could play Wade, it opened a week before the end of my 365 days.
Cutting it close.
Yes.
Wow.
So the only, and they wanted the first week for members only. So they said, we'll let you play my host. We'll let him host you on your last day. So Wade Hampton was my 100th course on the 365th day. And I barely missed a birdie from the rough for my last.
Wow.
Whole of that.
It's hurted. I had like a 12-footer or so for birdie, and it just rode the edge of the cup and stopped behind it. I tapped in for par, and the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders.
Unbelievable. Well, listen, we could probably have hours of stories about every course, but we don't want to keep you too long. We are going to get to the Philly courses because people love arguing about that. That's not a Philly course and all that. Yeah, these people. But I have to ask you about the New York course because I'm fortunate enough to go up to the Hamptons once a year with a buddy of mine, and we've played a bunch of the courses. I hate just saying what's your favorite, what's the best, but like what really stands out to you from those courses? Because when you look at like, the Hamptons area and the Philly area, the courses we have are incredible. So what really stood out to you about the golf up there?
For one thing, I think I said 4 courses for the Hamptons is 5. I played 4 of them on that trip.
Okay.
I had to come back later to play Shinnecock.
Okay.
But the course, there are 2 I'll talk about. The one I left out, by the way, by mistake was Maidstone in East Hampton. But the 2 of the 5 that really stood out to me for different reasons, I think National Golf Links is like the most fun golf course in the country to play. What C.B. McDonald did, when he traveled over to the British Isles and identified these holes that he thought would be great for novice golfers like us, and then the pros like those guys teeing it up near Danielle this week down in Florida, and he strung them together into National Golf Links. And so you have these interesting holes to play, and it's just fun. It's just, you got to think your way around the course and how to play every hole. So I really like that. And then I just love the the feel, the ambiance of Friar's Head. And it has like the best scorecard. It talks, it tells you, the scorecard tells you that use your noggin. Just, it says to play from some of the areas as a hazard or whatever, but then for everything else, just use common sense. Those are the local rules. Just use common sense.
I feel like that's the hardest part of golf sometimes.
Yes, but the course, it's a Core Crenshaw design, and they have what I call this rugged elegance.
Mm-hmm.
And the courses that they design look like they've been there forever. And at that course too, when you come off the 14th green and head to the 15th tee box, the view is just jaw dropping. Mm-hmm. When you look from the 15th tee toward the sound, it's like the course just drops off into the sound. And then you walk along the cliff's edge. There's actually hanging off the cliff is a catwalk that takes you from the 15th green over to the 16th tee box. So that stands out. And Shinnecock is just hard.
Yeah,
brutal. And I played it with Jimmy Dunn, and just a fantastic guy and a fantastic day. And there's a really good chapter in the book, a section in the book where I talk about Jimmy Dunn and his experiences, and then playing with him. And when he set the course record, made a hole-in-one, and he almost repeated that hole-in-one on the same hole, just a few inches the day we played together. But we played it 2 weeks before the U.S. Open.
Okay.
The fescue was up, the greens were fast, the fairways firm. It was just, and Jimmy's normal caddy, there's a guy by the name of Lenny Bumalo. And Lenny said if they were playing the Open the day, they'd shut the tournament down. That's just how tough the conditions were there. And then there's Sabonic, and I call it like I see it. They say it's a collaboration between Doak and Nicklaus. I think there are Doak holes, and I think there are Nicklaus holes, and you can tell which of which when you're playing when you're playing the course. And then Maidstone, they're just by the way, Sabonic is the only course with holes along the Great Peconic Bay. And then
incredible finish.
Maidstone is also a challenging course. That 16 hole where you got to carry over the water to decide how much.
I'm getting out there in May. I was supposed to play in September. We got rained out. It was like that crazy storm weekend, but I'm playing in May. That's one of the big bucket list ones for me out in the Hamptons for sure.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. My wife, when we were driving through the Hamptons a few years after I did the tour, she looked at Shinnecock and said, "That's the course that you were working all that hard to get on?" She wasn't that impressed. Through East Hampton, she sees Mesa. Now that I like that course.
Right. Sound like you've become a big architectural fan. Were you always a fan of golf course architecture, or did the trip bring that out in you?
The trip brought it out. I was talking earlier about C.B. McDonald. When I went out to play, to play at Bandon Dunes, and I played Old McDonald, I thought it was the stupidest, silliest golf course I'd ever seen in my life. These weird greens and these huge greens and crater bunkers and all that sort of stuff. I had no idea at that time what a template hole was. And then I played at Yeaman Hall in
South Carolina.
Carolina. And I was really, first of all, the beauty of the Low Country where the setting is, and the marsh and the Spanish moss dripping from the trees. It was great. So I got intrigued by that course. And so I did some research on Seth Rayner, the designer, and that led me to C.B. McDonald, and that led me to the understanding of what template holes were. And then I got a whole new appreciation for those type of, for Old McDonald out at Bandon. And then, and of course, then when I played National Golf Links, I understood it, and it was fun. I loved it. So I learned a lot, and there was something instinctively. So one of the clubs that's not a Philly course, but close enough, Somerset Hills, I thought it was the most underrated in all of the list. It was rated like 63 or something at the time. But it's a Tillinghast.
Tillinghast, yeah.
Not a CB McDonald or Seth Rayner. But I think it has the best Redan in the top 100.
Better than Shinnecock's, huh?
That number 2 at Somerset Hill, there's only about a 6 foot by 6 foot area where you can land the ball and stay on the green. So you got to be accurate off the tee. And then if you miss the green, you got to be even more accurate to save par, trying to chip back up or hit a sand shot back up. It's just a real challenge. Again, I like things that are hard. So that hole is extremely hard, but I think it's a great Redan.
All right. Well, I don't know if this is going to be hard for you or easy for you, but we have to bring it back home to Philly, right? You're a member of Philly Cricket. We talked about our friend Ryan Gano, which he set an incredibly low bar for you as a guest, which is great. So thank you for Ryan. Appreciate that from All Access. Make sure you check those guys out. But let's bring it home to Philly. We had the president of the Gap on who gave his, favorite Philly courses, and people went nuts on social media about it. That's not really a Philly course.
I watched that episode, and I wondered what all the blowback would be about that. And I said, when I'm on that show, I gotta avoid getting myself in trouble.
No. We open that door and make people walk through it. So tell us what you think. Your favorite Philly courses. I know we have a lot here.
So I'll tell you, I'm a member.
Philly area. Philly area people.
I'm a member at Philly Cricket. Okay, so and when I'm at sitting on the veranda there at the Wissahickon course, I have to pinch myself because that course is just it's incredible. But Philly has tremendous. Pound for pound, it's hard to beat this area if you put Philly and Jersey together.
Yeah.
And then you throw in New York, it's a knockout punch. But there's no better place, in my opinion, in the country where you have such good golf as you have here.
Well, you know a little bit about it, so that's good. You're a good source.
So looking at the, Marion, my top 5 courses
here we go.
Included Marion. And it was because of the traditions. Wow. Marion's a great place. It's a great course. Truthfully, I'd heard, and I mentioned this in the book, that it hadn't always been a great place for guests, but it's always been a great course. And when I played it, my drive on 18 landed 1 inch from the plaque. Where Hogan plaque. One iron.
Yeah.
So my approach shot, 3 hybrid, 210 yards away, 3 hybrid, flags on front right. I miss to the right of that bunker off the front right of the 18, chip over, tap in for putt. I tip my hat to the crowd, the galley that was there, because they all came back from when Hogan was there, because, Hogan and I are both Texans. So that moment, our lives converged. But anyway, Marion, the challenge of those holes, too. So you got Marion, you got Pine Valley, where there's more sand than you can shake a stick at. It's just, and it is hard. There's no place to miss. You have more room than you think off the tee. It doesn't look like it, but you do. There are places to land, but you can't use all those places, because the only way you're going to get to the green, have a good shot at the green, is to land in the right place off the tee. So there is no letting up. Some courses, most courses, there are holes that you would consider an easy hole. Pine Valley, there are no easy shots. It's just every shot is a hard shot, and the slightest miss gets you in deep trouble. And then Aronimink, Aronimink to me, I think, and I mentioned this, I ran into Gil there one day, Hans, and they have a lot of bunkers there, and it's probably for the tournament, that are like the pillows and the towels my wife has here in the house. They're there to look at. You don't use them.
Right.
And there are a lot of bunkers like that. I think they're decorative at Aronimink, but the membership at Aronimink was great. When I played it, so Jeff Kitty, the head pro, allowed me to play the course as unaccompanied. but I met members there, and they just adopted me. Great folks, and they heard that I hadn't had a confirmed host for Pine Valley, and they started calling up Pine Valley members to get me a host. It's just tremendous, friendly, great people. So you talk about the courses, and that's one of the things I'll say too is the Philly fans, if you don't like the teams they like, they can be harsh. But the Philadelphia people, that's been one of the great pleasures for my wife and I here in Philadelphia. Or the people here are just so warm and welcoming and friendly. I'm from Texas. We say howdy to everybody. And when we're walking the streets here in Center City, people speak and say hi. And it's just and at the clubs that I played here, it's just so warm and welcoming. And so at a Runamick, it's just really a warm and welcoming place.
So I take it you didn't mention you're a Cowboys fan to anybody.
So I actually worked with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and Tom Landry and Roger Staubach were big supporters of FCA. So my wife is a Cowboy fan. I'm really not a Cowboy fan, but my wife is a Cowboy fan.
Marriage.
So I got a signed photograph of Tom and Roger for her office, and it hangs on the wall in her office. But I am from Texas, and the quarterback here is obviously from Texas, and we played against his team in high school. He's much younger than me, but the Channelview, where he went to high school and his dad is the coach.
Okay.
I used to play against Channelview in high school. I'm a Phillies fan when it comes to football, when it comes to basketball. I'm a Phillies fan. I have to admit, I tried to root for the Phillies in the game against the Astros, the World Series. That lasted for about an inning, and then I was pulling for Dusty Baker. I grew up an Astros fan, but I was trying to root for the Phillies. I did for half an inning, and then Dusty warmed to my heart, and I'm back rooting for the Astros. But I love the 76ers and the Eagles.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome.
Jimmie James, thank you so much. Make sure you're following Top 100 Golf Nomad on Instagram, and releasing on June 11th, Playing from the Rough, a personal journey through America's 100 greatest golf courses. Pre-order it now online. There it is. We're going to give away a signed copy on social media. Jimmie, we could talk for hours. That was tremendous. I'm sure we just scratched the surface with stories. So maybe we'll get you back on one time and go through some of the fun stuff and the crazy stuff that you saw.
It's been great, guys. It's a pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take a quick break, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back to Swing It and Ding It. A lot of fun talking to Jimmie James, man. We were talking a little bit during the break, but I mean, what a story. Yeah. What a guy, too, man. You could tell, like, he probably has so many stories, and some of the stuff he's seen, tremendous.
Yeah, and how about him getting to single digits through the whole thing?
Yeah.
So
the handicap index.
Yeah.
And on the top 100 courses, too. Yeah. It's not like he's just playing a bunch of public courses, getting his handicap down. He's playing some tough courses.
Yep. Can't wait to get a copy of the book myself and give away a signed copy through social media that Jimmie was kind enough to offer us. But great stuff. All right, guys, finally, we've been talking about Austin Eckroat. He was on the program about a year ago. He's been scratching his service, top 5s, top 10s, Cognizant Classic, a little bit of a Monday finish, some weather. And our guy gets his first PGA Tour win on a Monday finish, 25 years old, $1.62 million, 2-year status, into the Players, into the Masters. I mean, it's in his 50th start, too, right? Yeah. So, and he's been all over the board, right? It was almost like we were taking him week after week after week. It was almost like we had to stop taking him because to give him a break. But just, Harry, I mean,
yeah,
an interesting tournament all around, but to see him persevere in the end was really cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I kind of felt a little bit bad because nobody was there on Monday, when he, clinched it and finally won on. But everybody that's close to him and important in his life was there. So I guess that's all that matters. But yeah, final round 67, he had 5 birdies and 1 bogey. And he bogeyed the 14th hole, which is the hole right before you head to the bear trap. So can you imagine the anxiety there? Like, oh man, I just gave one away and now I'm heading to the trap. And, he got through there with no problem. He was 1 under for the week through the bear trap and then went even par through the front 9 trap, which is 5, 6, and 7, which doomed many players, including the gentleman that I took last week. But nothing higher than a bogey, 8 under on the par 5s, did exactly what he had to do, led the field in strokes gained tee to green, terrific iron play. And, went after that bogey, went par, birdie, par in the trap, and then got the par on the birdie on 16, hit that iron shot to about 12 feet and drained the putt, and that clinched it. That was the end of the story. And all you had to do, imagine walking up 18, man, knowing that you got the tournament by 3 shots, and there's really no
finally
way
able to breathe.
I don't think I could even mess that up.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like they were like, he's going to hit a 7-iron here. He's laying up, and sure enough, he hits a perfect layup, hits the wedge, almost made the birdie putt, and then taps in for the par. That's got to be the greatest feeling ever.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Danielle, very active in your neighborhood. A lot going on. You got the Monday finish. You have the Seminole thing. EVR. They're going to have to shuttle him back to finish. A lot going on down there.
Literally, it was wild. And, talking in our group text that we had, you guys are like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Brandon was playing just like a casual round. And then the weather here, we get a tornado warning. There's like hails coming in. I'm like, what is happening? I felt bad, Harry, as you mentioned, a Monday finish. But like, imagine going to bed, not just Saturday, but Sunday with all that pressure. Like he probably didn't sleep. He probably didn't breathe. But awesome finish for Austin. And then, as you said, we had the Seminole Pro member here. So that was crazy too. But when we're talking about the Cognizant, we have to talk about Van Rooyen's 63, like 6 straight birdies. That's insane.
28 on the front. Yeah.
I was watching that. I'm like, I was screenshot sending it to you guys. I'm like, what the hell? And then he went on to win the net portion of the pro member. No surprise there. But we also got to talk about poor Shane Lowry. Harry, I know your memory with golf is insane. Do you remember in 2022 when he kind of unraveled and lost? He needed a birdie to force a playoff with Sepp, and he didn't. And he came out after.
Yeah,
exactly. So I
had him in the top 5 though.
Oh,
gave it out on the pod last week.
There you go. So I mean, you just see the emotions of these guys. I felt so bad. But fast forward, and you see him, like he even said in 2022, he's like, I feel like I've gotten the tournament stolen from me. And then you see him, the bear trap, Harry, you mentioned that too. He was tied for the lead after 36 holes and trying to search for that win since the 2022 BMW. And here comes enter the bear trap. His tee shot on the par 3 15th finds a drink. And then you see him having emotions that probably, a decent amount of our listeners may have. Takes his iron, strikes it on the ground. And then I'm sorry to laugh, Shane, but he whiffed on trying to kick the iron. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
I might have whiffed on a golf shot before, but I don't think I've ever whiffed a kick. I don't know about you guys.
No. How about you say we talked about EVR T2? Minwoo Lee with his highest finish gets a T2.
67 in the final round.
That's right. And Jake Knapp, man, you thought there'd be a little bit of hangover. There's no hangover. That guy's just, he's in the gym. That's all he wants to do. After the round, hey, I'm heading to the gym. Yeah. They're posting pictures of him lifting on Instagram. Like, take it easy, Jake. My wife's on this app. You know what I mean? Settle down, buddy. You know what I mean?
And Nick Dunlap had an ace on the 7th hole on Friday from
how about the
200 yards.
Billy Horschel, from the clouds for a couple hours. Like, whoa, you're like, where's this guy coming from? He comes in for
that shirt he was wearing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeez,
I don't know. But so Austin Eckroat wins at 100-1, right? And I think we talked about this. Right, I'm going to run through these real quick if you guys don't mind. Century, Chris Kirk, 200-1. Sony, Grayson Murray, 400-1. Amex, Dunlap, 300-1. Farmers, Pavone, 125-1. AT&T, Wyndham Clark. I can't believe he was 60-1, but
I know.
He did. Nick Taylor at the Waste Management, 125-1. Hideki was an 80-1 at the Genesis. Mexico Open. We had Jake Knapp 40-1. That was a pretty
I didn't know
tight
Jake
number
was
for him.
40-1.
Yeah. So that they know some stuff in Vegas, right? And then like we talked about with Austin at 100-1. I think that streak ends this week, right? I think this is a top of the order type of thing. But some money to be made out there, Harry, on DraftKings Sportsbook using that code DING.
Yeah, there definitely is. And I know we got the contest this week. I just put my lineup in last night. I think there was 10 slots remaining this morning. I tweeted it out, the link. So hopefully that fills up. But yeah, who would be remiss, though, about Rory coming into this week, a place where he plays really, really well. How about his third round at the Cognizant? I mean, he's in the trap there, makes bogey from the bunker on 15, and then gets to 16 and hits his approach, misses it right, probably a good ways, and puts it in the water and tries to hit it out of the water. In his outfit was like, what color was that, Danielle? Like, what color were those pants?
I think it was like a beige tan pants.
Like a very light colored pants.
Yeah, takes off the sock, the shoe. But surprisingly, he didn't even really get any muck on him.
He didn't.
Like, it was like, but the ball rolled back.
So he make triple on that hole, and that was the end of his tournament. He finished T21. But I think I might be taking old Roars this week in the one and done. I got to get him out of the way.
Get a temperature on.
I know I'm not.
You're not saving him for the Masters, Harry?
No, absolutely not.
I love it. Yeah, I like that. Now, let's run through some of the other stories of the week, right? We talked about Seminole and Danielle. Maybe let's start with your tee, because I feel like sometimes I start talking about stuff and it's in your tee. So let's start there, and then maybe you'll cover some of this. Yeah.
So you started off with the Seminole Pro Member, which was on Monday. Notables: Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, JT, Ricky, Rory, Cam Young, all in attendance. A little bit of shuffling, obviously, with that Monday finish of the Cognizant. I DM'd you guys something that Fact said on Tiger. So, quote, he hit it absolutely down the middle of the golf course. He hit a 5-wood on the par 5 15th, flew at about 256 in the air, and it stopped 1 inch from the hole for a tap-in eagle. So he said people were in awe. When you see Tiger, this man just carries a presence.
Right.
And so people in the area getting to see Tiger, and he walked the entire course. He could have taken a card if he wanted to, but he was out there, and obviously that was a draw. That was an attraction. I don't know if you guys heard anything about that or were paying attention to that. He
was playing with Seth Waugh, right?
Seth Waugh, yeah.
That was the member. And that guy's got the slickest hair, man. I love that dude.
Oh, yeah. Head of the
beautiful hair.
He looks
beautiful hair.
Beautiful hair.
Yeah. So Seth Waugh is who put together the park where we saw the match on Monday. So, yes, that's a great guy. But, he played with him. Tom Brady was there. So, unfortunately, Brendan's like, come over and watch, but with the Cognizant the week before, my schedule was bananas. I know Harry was rooting me on to
play in that.
Yeah, yep. I think it was either his 5th or 6th year that he's played in that. So
he felt good enough to get in that level of a fight, huh? I love it.
How'd he play?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't ask. I feel like I haven't even had a second to talk to him. I was like, how was it? Like, I asked about Tom Brady. The important stuff. So I'll check in with him and see how he played. But I know as of before going into the pro member, he had over, I think a 5-round stretch of bogey-free golf. So he's getting there. I mentioned earlier today, he woke up at 4 a.m. to try to beat this, rain and ugly weather we have here. So he could just go and putt and grind out on the range, working with our friend Jason Bale still. So lots of good stuff coming there. But yeah, back to more tea. Full Swing season 2 is going to make its debut. It said Thursday, but then I seen today. I seen on Instagram that it said today. So we'll see that. Are you guys tuning in? Are you interested?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
What else am I going to watch? Even if it was like mediocre, but Chad Mum's a friend of the program. We're going to get him back on. He needs to talk to like Good Morning America, like Dan Patrick first. He'll get to us. He'll get back. He'll get back. Okay. So in a recent interview with Golf Week, we heard Azinger, he dropped this quote: "The best players aren't all playing PGA Tour tournaments. That's over. The PGA Tour has become the qualifier for LIV, and it's a sad day Harry's
for
boy.
Golf."
Yeah.
So I believe thoughts on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's a stretch.
Yeah, I'm with you here. And what really matters is the fans, right? Like, you need people in attendance. You need people watching.
Yeah.
Right.
So like if you look at social and all the feedback on a couple of these, X or tweet threads, I'd say more than 75+% disagreed with this. I can note a few comments like live is where talent and skill go to die. Full stop, Azinger. Until I hear a kid say their goal is to be a live golfer, the PGA Tour will remain on top. And then another guy, problem is nobody watches live. This weekend was awful. Playing to no gallery with bad music playing in the background, unwatchable. So
no, I disagree that it's unwatchable. I don't agree with that.
You've been enjoying it more and more.
I mean, it's not the PGA Tour, and it never will be. But it's not, to me, it's not unwatchable.
Did you watch some AK?
No, I didn't. I missed it because of they were on tape delay, obviously, because they're over in Saudi Arabia, and I didn't focus on the fact that the CW was playing the tape delayed rounds, so I kind of blew it. And after I found out that Anthony Kim shot like I don't know 76, 78 in the first round, whatever it was, I'm like, forget it.
Yeah,
he shot 16 over par and finished DFL, which doesn't really surprise anybody. It'll take him a little while to get it back, but I was amazed at the way he dressed. Some people were calling him a fashion plate. I'm like, you look like a rumpled, unmade bed.
Yeah. What was the t-shirt? The t-shirt when we first saw him said what, like Girl Dad or something on it?
Is that right?
He had those one of one, golf shoes that people were, golf shoe people were freaking out about. I tweeted it yesterday. I said, was the idea of the return of AK maybe better than the return of actual AK? It's one of those things where like that mystique and intrigue and where is he?
Yeah. But on the topic of live and Harry's hat, Joaquin Neiman has been on a tear.
Yeah.
Wacko Neiman. Yeah.
I'm a Cleeks guy. Sorry.
Yeah. With that, and then one last topic on live. Live Golf has withdrawn its application for official World Golf ranking points. And if you are on social, you're seeing a lot of the live guys follow Norman's lead and chiming in and making kind of some pretty bold statements. So right now, here's one from Greg Norman. It's now clear that the best way forward for live as a league and live golfers is not through the current ranking system. So they have withdrawn its application, and that's where we stand. So interesting to see. It's kind of fun to follow the golf drama and see what these guys are saying online about this.
No doubt. Harry mentioned the DraftKings contest. I was driving, I had to get my lineup in. I'm listening to, I'm not going to call out the PGA Tour radio show last week, and I hear them like rattling off names who they love. And it I'm a radio guy. I get influenced by this stuff.
Yeah. Sobel and the caddy.
No. I trust Jason.
Okay.
It was a little bit earlier. 4 of 5 missed the cut.
Inside the ropes.
Stop.
4 of 5 missed the cut.
NTR, baby.
Well, hopefully nobody was taking my thoughts because Denny missed the cut and so did Adam Svensson. So.
Yeah, and Eric Cole.
Ooh, Harry.
Oh my goodness.
Harry, were you upset about that?
Oh man, I was apoplectic on Friday.
What? That was just not out. That's just not
totally out of character for him.
Yeah.
I mean, on the first day on that par 3 5th hole, the start of that stretch on the front side, he hits his tee shot short. It bounces off the rocks that surround that green, goes way back into the water. He's got to obviously hit again from the drop area, whatever. Ended up making triple, and that was the end. He was done.
Yeah, didn't
Very
get
surprising.
back on track after that.
Yeah. But we got a big one this week, gang. The
I got to get the lineup in.
Invitational signature event. 80 golfers, no cut for the first time for this event. $20 million, $4 million to the winner. You have 42 of the top 50 playing.
I think there is a cut down to 50.
Is there really?
Down to 50 in ties? Yeah, I believe so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like Tiger's event.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
How about
there's
4
always
of
been
the
in the
last
past.
6? 4. Yeah, I know it changed as far as like number of golfers, but 4 of the last 6 winners here were major winners.
Yeah.
And 5 of the last 8 are international players. So it's weird when you dig into this. It's pretty interesting, right? Yeah, Kitayama with the win last year. Scheffler, right? Scheffler over the past 2 years.
And Tyrrell Hatton's won there, of course.
Hatton won in 2020. Yep. Bryson in 2021. Rory. So when you think about that, right? Like if Bryson can win one year and Tyrrell Hatton, it's 2 different types of players. It's not about a certain stat. So this course is incredibly interesting to me. Bay Hill, Harry, let's talk about the course, of course. Let's start with the playing field.
Yeah, absolutely. The API, Bay Hill Club and Lodge, a par 72, almost 7,500 yards. It's been hosting this event since 1979. It's not your standard Florida golf course, but it is very flat with a lot of water. But when you look at some of the vision, it doesn't look like the typical Florida golf course because of the hardwood trees that are on the property. And, it's got some rolling areas into the rough. I mean, you don't want to be in the rough, very nasty rough. The greens, I understand, are rock hard already. On Tuesday, they were, based on what I heard. And if they get wind, look out. 3 of the last 4 years, Moose and Danielle, the winning score is in the single digits. Last year, Kurt Kitayama, 9 under par, won it. I think Scheffler finished 2 back at 7 under. 700 FedEx Cup points to the victor and $4 million. 69 players in the field, and I believe they cut to 50 because the last place guy, if he finishes solo 50, makes like $52,000 in the purse. So they got 4 par 5s, 4, 6, 12, and 16. That's 6th hole. You might remember this one. That's the one where Bryson hit it off the tee and drove over towards the green and put both his arms up like he was just got done lifting weights or something. It was a monster drive. He took over the entire body of water, but it's like a big sea almost, and it's all water, all carry, tremendous hole. And then it's number 2 handicap, by the way, too, if you're just playing it. The 4th is a double dog leg, 560 yards uphill. And the 16th, where the drama starts, is a dog leg right, very reachable for these guys in 2, 510 yards with a little bit of water in front. They got 4 par 3s. The one that's most notable is the 17th. Because it's, right before the end. It's all over the water, 225 with a green basically surrounded by sand. And 10 par 4s. The 3rd hole is the first water hole with it all up the left-hand side. Sort of looks like similar to maybe the 18th on TPC Sawgrass. The 8th hole of par 4 is a dog leg right with a green side pond. And the 18th, where it all comes down, 460 yards, OB down the left. They got major rough right. And then if you hit it far enough, the water comes into play on the right with a boomerang-shaped green. I'll never forget Arnold Palmer, and I believe one of the last times he ever played around there, hits that like a fairway metal off the fairway and ran the ball right up onto the green.
They're posting a lot yesterday.
Oh, that's a tremendous. I never gets old. Just a great week, great tournament. And I agree with you guys. I think the cream is finally going to rise to the top this week.
It's got, this teeth is really, this course is really going to show its teeth. Like I said, I saw last night, Brad was sending videos. They're double rolling that ryegrass. Like, I don't know if you saw the video. He's putting his foot down. That is thick. Yeah. It's firm. It's fast. I'm excited who's going to.
Yeah, you got to know the course. Yep. According to our friend Jeff Ulrich, 8 of the past 9 winners had a T17 or better at Bay Hill before. So course knowledge comes into play as we move into seeing the line with our friends at DraftKings, not just for the PGA Tour, but you can get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers who deposit $5 or more can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bet. When you're looking at the NBA, Harry, this was interesting to me. Futures, right? The Celtics are plus 230, right? They're Celtics. The Knicks are 2,800. The Sixers are 2,200. I think Vegas knows a little something about Joel Embiid, maybe. Something to keep an eye on.
You think that's kind of a tighter number than what you would have anticipated? Yeah.
Yeah. I would think so.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I still don't think they get past the second round, but.
Yeah, we will see how that goes. All right, so when we see the line here, continue to. So Harry talked about Rory. Well, it's interesting. You have the lines. You have Scheffler at 700, Rory at 900. Then it jumps to 1,600 with Xander.
Mm-hmm.
So
who hasn't played great at this venue?
No,
Xander. If you look at his history.
Yeah. But you talked about Rory. He has a T2, a T5, and a win. Never missed a cut in 8 starts. T13 or better in the last 6 years. So I like your pick there. I like Fitz, great Bermuda grass putter at 3,000. Spieth has had a T4 the last 2 years here at 2,200. I like 2 other guys a little bit further down are Jason Day and Sanjay. Sanjay's number is great at 5,500. What are you thinking here?
Well, I like Jason Day as well. I got plus 280 in the top 10. Of course, he's a former winner here. Sam Burns looks pretty juicy too. He gets that driver going, man, and he can putt Bermuda as well. Plus 2,500 to win, plus 230 in the top 10. I also like him over Fitzy actually in a matchup at minus 110 on DK. And I like Keegan Bradley at minus 120 over Adam Scott in a matchup. And Keegan's also part of my my fantasy squad.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that episode, but I feel like it's going to be rough because Chad Mumm talked about it. The cameras show up he thinks they're showing up because he's getting in.
Yeah.
They were showing up because I can't, that's going to be rough to watch. I feel like,
but we also had the Puerto Rico Open this week.
That's right.
Too. We got two tournaments in the one and done.
Yeah.
Tried to warn everybody about that Grand Reserve golf course, a Tom Kite design. They got 2 par 5s, guys, that are over 600 yards each. So a really long golf course, a lot of wind. I'm taking Daniel Berger plus 2,200 to win it. I think he's in that tournament for a reason because he knows he can win it, and I think he's going to go there and do it.
I have a pick there too.
Guys too. Yeah, I mean, this really helps some guys solidify their card, get a win, get half the purse of what the Arnold Palmer is.
Yeah,
but
300 points. But hey,
Harry, how about that Brandon Wu?
Oh, I love Brandon Wu. Plus,
he's got a T2 in 2021, a T3 in 2022, and he's 3,500.
3,500, yeah. And he was plus 3,000, and it went up to 3,500. So somebody doesn't like him. But I agree with you. I like him on this golf course. And Ryo Hitsatsune. I hope I said that correctly. Yeah, but he's plus 3,000 from Japan. Very talented player. I think he'll show up this week too.
I got to ask you guys, Moose, what was that stat you said? 17. They finished top 17 or better at Bay Hill.
8 of the past 9 winners have finished T17 or better here.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask you guys for a little, maybe I might be doing my lineup after this. And I don't know why I'm feeling this, but JT, I think he's 22-1, kind of a long shot, but he finished, I think, where did he finish last year? Like 21st. What are your thoughts on JT at Bay Hill?
I don't mind JT.
I already took him, so
you got to think about 21st last year. It was when he was kind of struggling, and he's got it back a little bit. So I don't.
And he's played this course how many times?
Oh yeah. I don't mind that one at all. All right, good stuff, guys. A lot of fun talking to Jimmie James.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure if you guys are like us, you're going to want to get Playing from the Rough, a personal journey through America's 100 greatest golf courses, stories upon stories, and we will see. We will see what happens with Arnie's tournament.
Moose, if you would have rolled that out to your wife and kids, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but I will be back. The locks would have been changed.
Can you imagine?
I
say I'm going to the range to hit balls. I get a stink eye. I mean, come on. This guy's a legend. I'm telling you, he's the smartest. I said it in the beginning. He's the smartest man I've ever met.
Yep.
I was talking about B this morning. I said, you know what? We have somebody who's starting a business with the Sims and everything else, and he's putting an arcade in there. Brendan's like, it's kind of genius. Like, hey, honey, don't worry. I'll take the kids. Throw the kids in the arcade.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can go and play. I was like, wow, that's not a terrible business model to have.
Yeah.
That's right. All right.
Shout out to Johnny Coop, who won the DFS contest last week. He is on fire.
He is
in DFS. Super Coop's son.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of talent in that family. Harry.
There really is.
A lot of talent in that family. I love it. All right. We'll be back next week. Have a good one.